What is up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Real Radar Radio Show. I gotta tell you, man, this whole week has just been one big, blur. You wouldn't even believe it. I mean, I've did a lot, so much adulting. I mean, I know the word is kind of overplayed. It's a little, fresh. It's a little, well, not fresh, like, in a sense of, I guess, another hip, cool thing, whatever, but I don't know. I did a lot of good stuff this week. I got a lot of stuff done this week. A lot of praying and a lot of waiting and a lot of being patient and a lot of, just seeing where this all leads and where it's all gonna take me and take me and my lovely fiance in the future, and where it's gonna lead us. But I mean, it all came down to Tuesday, man, and not a lot of you knew this, but Tuesday I celebrated my 28th birthday, and Tuesday just so happened to be a life-changing thing for me and for Luce, and it was just a big deal, on our part, because we thought it was, how awesome it would be to, for it to happen on my birthday of all days. But we signed the lease on an apartment that we had been looking at, and we got it, and I'm officially moved in. It took me a couple of days to get everything situated, pack up a few things, get everything squared away, packed, moved, tied down, strapped, and moved in, man. I mean, it's all real. It's all done. I'm officially in there. It's pretty much an amazing feeling. I've never felt a feeling like this. I guess it's much more of a feeling of, I guess you could say, like, accomplishment. I feel independent in a way that I just feel like, I don't have to worry about somebody busting through that door, or, or I don't have to worry about anything or anybody. Like, I can actually invite people over and have guests, and, it's my place, So, a big thing for me. I mean, I know, I'm sure a lot of people have already, already living on their own and doing their own thing. And for me, it's kind of a big deal. It's been a process. It's been a long awaited thing for us, and we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for the longest time till we got our own place. And this is gonna be the place that we're gonna be once we get married, and we're gonna finally have a place to call our own. So it's awesome. We have pretty cool neighbors. We have pretty cool apartment manager for the area, and just the whole downtown feel of in the city, downtown the city, just feels like awesome. So I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's got a good view from the third floor. Got to see everything from I guess my little world there in the apartment. So, but it's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to just so many good memories and so many good, fun times there. So that's awesome. Aside from that, signing the lease on my birthday, and having that already said and done. Since today is Friday the 13th, and normally I'm usually on top of my game on Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, comes every so often, every year, and it's awesome, man. You get to watch the Friday the 13th movies, have a horror marathon. You get to really enjoy the day, enjoy stuff that you're doing, and really have that mindset of watching Friday the 13th, or doing something spooky, and creepy. No matter if fucking Friday the 13th falls on fucking March or April, I mean, it's still Friday the 13th. It's automatically designated as a spooky day, a fun day. So with today being Friday the 13th, I figured what awesome way would be to celebrate Friday the 13th than putting out a new episode. So, the new episode's available. It's here. It's packed with a lot of great things. Aside from me rambling about the apartment deal, some other things that I've kind of, discovered about the Scream franchise, a little here and there. It's a little salty, it's a little bit, weird, but at the same time, it's kind of intriguing. There's just so many, layers to this whole big story that it just happens to just come together in, almost every podcast, that it just makes it seem that much more fun. I guess when you put it all together, it sounds that much more cooler. I don't know what else to say other than, this episode has been a big deal, because I for one have been looking forward to doing this show, and now more than ever for today, with what I saw on Facebook, was a trailer for a new movie called Countdown. And this movie called Countdown has a lot of, I guess you could say, similarities and good-natured concept for a horror movie. So let me run this down for you really quickly. Countdown is a horror movie where you download this app, and in the movie, the plot of the movie is, within the movie, you download this app, and this app supposedly tells you precisely how many days you have, how many years, days, months, minutes, seconds you have left to live. It's basically a death clock. And if you like me, growing up in 2004, 5, 6, all the way up, would remember, all those cheesy, drdeath.com and, deathclock.com and stuff like that. All those weird, spooky, weird websites where, you would enter your birthday and enter your name and enter, personality traits about yourself, and it would tell you when you would die and stuff like that. It was just, those automatic generated, how many days you have left to live, stuff like that. It's basically been, jam-packed into an app within the movie, where you basically, download this app, and it tells you how long you have left to live, and, all this other stuff. Well, coincidentally, I'm assuming within this movie that, the app somehow bridges a gap to some sort of evil entity that, kills you, or, the app is haunted. There's something within this that just doesn't seem right. I mean, the idea is pretty cliche, pretty clever, but cliche in a way where I feel like this has already been done. Let's rewind the clock just a few years ago, where we had a little movie called One Missed Call. And a lot of people who remember One Missed Call would remember that this particular movie, the plot of the movie was, you would get a phone call on your cell phone, and it would leave you a message, a voicemail. And you would listen to this voicemail, and this voicemail would you're listening to the final seconds or minutes of before you die, or how you die. I think it was very, very original when that movie first came out. It's still pretty relevant to this day, although I think if that movie was to be updated, it would be something a little bit better than Countdown. I was thinking about this the other day. While I was at work, I was thinking about One Missed Call, and I was thinking about how great of a movie it was. And I was thinking about, man, how about a movie or a remake of one missed call, or what did I say? Yeah, a remake of One Missed Call would be awesome. I mean, right now is today's, everybody's tech savvy world. How would it be interpreted? You go back to 2008. This movie, One Missed Call, came out literally 11 years ago. So let's look. 11 years ago, our technology was still on the upcome. It was still, coming up. There was a lot of brand new, technology coming to fruition. We had the birth of the iPhones coming out. We had, smartphones being smartphones. Now that we're more technologically advanced, and we have these different types of smartphones and apps and stuff, it kind of just reminisces with the fact that I feel like Countdown, this movie called Countdown, is very similar to the movie One Missed Call. There's so much similarities in this. The concept is almost the same. The story, I would hope that there was some sort of a story behind it. It was a big factor back in 2008, because if you remember, 2008 had a lot of movies that were still kind of staggering, a lot of horror movies that were still kind of staggering, getting to where we are. We had The Exorcism of Emily Rose around that year. I don't think it was 2008-ish. The Exorcism of Emily Rose. We had a lot of exorcism movies, a lot of movies coming out. Priest with Anthony Hopkins was, somewhere around that same time frame. We had a lot of other movies. Cloverfield was, I think, 06, 07, maybe 08. I'm not too sure. But we had a lot of movies in the horror genre that weren't just sticking. Some movies did happen to have that je ne sais quoi, if you would say, of different, a plethora of different, films that made sense in 2008, 11 years ago. So you go back 11 years ago and you see the horror movies that were being produced before we had, these powerhouses like Blumhouse, and we had, this entire open library of the ABCs of Death and the VHS franchise and so many other things that we got so conveniently have now. And the films that were being produced in 2008 were just so much more cliche than they are relevant in today's cinema. I mean, you look at powerhouses today like Blumhouse, like I had mentioned. Blumhouse is responsible for producing a variety of so many great blockbuster horror movies. Blumhouse was also responsible for the Halloween sequel last year. Very successful. David Gordon Green provided a very spectacular, turn in the franchise. Danny McBride with co-writing the whole thing with David Gordon Green, having it come together, really hashed out to be this, true sequel to the original, and it made a lot more sense. So you would sponge everything from 2 all the way to Halloween H2O, and the whole franchise has been wiped clean, and you kind of just look at all these movies and you're thinking it's still a lot of fun to watch. This has been a trilogy, a whole legacy of Halloween movies. Whether you include the Paul Rudd, whether you include Danielle Harris, whether you include Rob Zombie. I mean, out of all people, the Rob Zombie iteration was pretty neat. It was okay. It was decent. It was okay. The fact that in Part 2 and Halloween 2, his sequel to Halloween, his remake, didn't really make that much more sense of the white horse and having Sherry Moon Zombie playing some other character, and having Little Michael replaced with another actor, and it was just so much confusion, too much all around. It just didn't make any sense whatsoever. But going back to the horror movies of today, you see successful turns at the box office now with the horror genre. because a lot of people are seeing movies like The Nun, The Conjuring, Annabelle, The Boy, some of these other little weird, cash cow films that I have no idea how they're successful. But I mean, nonetheless, they're entitled to their success in their in their own way. I for one strongly dislike movies like The Nun and Annabelle and the Conjuring series and all that business, Insidious, all those movies to me are shit. They're complete shit. They're honestly the worst movies I've ever seen. I've lost so much time from my life watching those movies, investing good time into those movies, because I felt honestly cheated that the fact that these movies had a chance of being good. They had a chance of being really good movies, and then it's a big loss. But you look at films now that don't involve dumb shit like that, and you involve films that are like pretty trippy and pretty well worth investing into, like this movie Countdown. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. It's kind of like 1 photo. Wow, One Missed Call. It's kind of like One Missed Call, and it's kind of placed on its head. You introduce an app instead of a phone call, because really, who uses phones to call people anymore rather than text and use apps? It makes that much more sense. It makes so much more sense because I see kids and people nowadays texting more than they do talk on the actual phone. I mean, people talk on the actual phone when they need something like urgently, like at that exact moment. And text messaging has been the new form of communication. Emails are still around, but just not as much. People are always on Snapchat or on Instagram, on Facebook. They're on these other social media sites that I don't even know about. But at the exact same time, it's the evolution of technology, and it's just how people use technology now. It's now that it's we had a chance to catch up to it and change with it and see how advanced it's become and how easy it is to somebody a photo of you at the beach and a Snapchat, but you can only view it one more time in Snapchat, and you can't see it at all unless you screenshot it. And even when you screenshot it, the person who sent it to you gets notified that you screenshotted what you were just viewing or what you just saw. And then of course that could lead to so much other hey, this guy he's watching me, or he's trying to keep tabs on me. Stuff like that is all the way around. And now they invented apps for that, for people who want to discreetly screenshot stuff from Snapchat. It's a big mess. It's a big invasion of privacy, in a sense of the app was built for that purpose, where you send them a picture of you, a snap of you in that moment, wherever you're at a recital or you're at a dance or you're at a an event or some type or whatever. The whole purpose is to send them a picture of you in that moment. And Snapchat's like, okay, he sent me a picture, they're at the beach or whatever. Okay, cool, I know where they're at. I don't need to save this photo. It's irrelevant. I already know where he's at. It doesn't make any sense to me. Or, there was no need to kind of keep the photo. Or, I don't know. Some people are weird like that. Invasion of privacy, trying to, track people and find out where they're at all times, or how they post to their stories, or, to let people know what they've been up to, stuff like that. It's a cool way. I mean, if you're like a marketing genius and you can, modify that and, use it to your expense, hey, all in for it. Go for it. I myself have been trying to do the exact same thing on Instagram, where I'm trying to, make an announcement of an upcoming show, or trying to tease the next episode or something. I did with the return of new episodes, and I try to make it more fun and a little bit more mysterious at the same time. But, my holdout from doing new shows lasted a good week, a little over a week or so, and it was a good time for me because I got to really sit back and be like, hey, I reevaluated my life. Things are going to be better. Don't need to get rid of the podcast. It's a great thing. It's my little escape from, reality. And I get to continue doing what I do, is critique and review movies and talk about horror movies and games and music. And it's just a lot of cool things. I mean, speaking of which, I hate to bust this open really quickly, but this whole thing about teasing the return of episodes and stuff has been probably a great idea on my behalf, because it was I guess it's a way of means of me saying that I'm trying to evolve with it. I'm trying to roll with it. It's kind of coming together, but at the same time it's kind of like let's keep a distance, but at the same time let's keep it going. You know what I mean? There's no need to rush into it. I mean, I have to continue on with life and responsibilities and duties and stuff that I got to do, and with the wedding coming up, school, and a lot of other things going on. I'm just trying to make it all work, trying to make it all come together, and it is. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of good things coming together. But hey, I mean, it's good, right? It's cool. Yeah, it's good. But I keep sidetracking from the main story, but Countdown is just exactly like One Missed Call. I encourage everybody to go check out the trailer online. I'll try to provide the link in my Instagram stories sometime after I finish publishing and polishing the last details of the show. So yeah, guys, go check it out. It looks really interesting. It looks really original. It looks like something that doesn't really seem like a crap fest, like Annabelle or The Conjuring or whatever you quote unquote horror movie lovers like. Man, those movies shouldn't even be classified as horror movies. Those movies should be classified as like comedies or documentaries. Comedies, at least, because there's nothing really scary about them. But yeah, all in all, this movie Countdown looks pretty promising. Looks pretty intriguing. I'm not one to shy away from new releases and things that seem relevant or seem new. I usually do the opposite of what I'm saying now. I mean, if you're a frequent listener to the Real Radar Radio Show, you would know that I bash a lot of new movies. I bash a lot of new horror movies. I really am a conduit for putting new movies down before I even watch them. Just analyzing the trailer tells me a lot of what this movie's going to be about. I can basically give you a whole rundown of the movie if you want to, just from the trailer alone. For example, for the movie Rambo: Last Blood, that's a big indicator that I'm pretty sure this is going to be, quote unquote, not the last Rambo movie, because, obviously, if this movie does fairly well at the box office, you can guarantee Sylvester Stallone's going to make another run at Rambo to make it seem like it's the final goodbye to the character Rambo. But in reality, it's not. It's just a cash cow. Look what he did with the Expendables. Expendables 1 was supposed to be a straight smash and hit. Straight to the box office. Rounding up all the action stars and making a badass movie. Expendables 2 came around. We knew that the cast was going to get bigger, the story was going to get a little bit weirder, and then Expendables 3 happened, and that was just a shit show of dumpster fire on top of another dumpster fire, throwing in gasoline, making the fire even bigger, and that's out of control. But me doing the opposite of what I usually talk about is a little refreshing. It's a little unnerving on my end, and it's a little bit of a wake-up call. I give films the benefit of the doubt when I watch the trailer. I give them a chance. I give them the opportunity to change my mind. When I saw the trailer for the movie Hustlers with Jennifer Lopez, I was curious. I was not bought well into the idea of it because I'm not a big J-Lo fan. There, America, I said it. I'm not a big J-Lo fan. I don't know what a Lizzo is. I don't know what an Aquafina is other than a water. The fact that I saw Cardi B's ratchet-ass name attached to this movie changed my mind completely. I didn't want nothing to do with it. I ain't gonna watch it, not gonna rent it. I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't like the combination of Jennifer Lopez. I don't like the combination of Cardi B. I don't like any of that shit, coming together to make an ultimate slutfest of a movie and, showing America how easy it is to rob wealthy businessmen of their money because they spend it stupidly at the strip club or whatever. I'm not bought into that idea. I don't like it. I don't like the whole, let's rob these men for what they got because they spend a lot of money stupidly watching us shake our ass, and we can rob them blind of this movie, and let's hustle. We're hustlers. We're girl bosses. We're independent. Woohoo! All in for female empowerment, and let's rob these men of their money, and let's take them for what they got. I'm all in for women equality. I love women. I think that they deserve equal, everything, and then more. I think they can do a lot better than the men. I just don't like the fact that when you take a movie concept like that and you attach stars that are kind of their same counterparts that they are in reality, it's kind of weird. Like, J-Lo's already got like 6 rings. She's got just about as much rings as I don't know, fucking Thanos has stones. It's the same shit. Cardi B was accused of drugging and stealing money from men when she used to be a stripper. That's pretty much the exact same shit that she's playing in the movie, I would assume. I mean, I'm not bashing on, female empowerment. I believe female empowerment is encouraged. I love the fact that women are advocating for other women to have equal pay and equal opportunities and equal chances and equal everything. Trust me, I'm not misogynistic or anything like that. I'm not anything anti-women or anything like that. I'm not. I love women. I can't imagine the fact that people would be that sick and that intolerant of women who they believe that they don't deserve certain things and certain luxuries and certain opportunities for them because they're human too. I mean, when this whole thing happened with Harvey Weinstein and everything that happened with that big guy, I was sickened, man. I couldn't even believe that shit happened to that degree. I mean, I knew that shit happened, obviously that shit happens in Hollywood. I mean, if you're gonna make it in the entertainment business and you want to be famous and rich, I can imagine that shit happens on the daily. But I mean, for somebody in the position of power that he was in, just because his name was on the production company, it just doesn't mean, it gives you leverage to be an asshole and, try to one up women and try to do things to make them do things just so you can feel satisfied while you're degrading them at the same time. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see the whole gratification of how men see that, enjoyable. I don't. It's sick. It really is. It's beyond me. It's beyond the fact that, the people out there that are like that, and it's sad. It really is. I've never witnessed it on a personal level until recently, when I saw that a few people at work just don't get treated fairly like the guys, and it's kind of sad. But I mean, at the same time, it's kind of like, wow. I mean, people are still like this in 2019. That's really sad. But I don't know. I mean, it's just the concept of the movie to me for Hustlers just doesn't make any sense to me, because I don't think it's a really good plot for a movie. I mean, I think J-Lo is pretty. I don't think she's like hot or like sexy. Like, I think she's pretty, like simple pretty, like whatever. I don't think she's got a lot of talent, but I mean, whatever. I don't think Cardi B has a lot of talent. I think that she shouldn't have been born to begin with, but I mean, I don't know. I just don't like her. I don't like J-Lo. I don't like Lizzo. I don't know. I don't know how to say her name. I don't like her either. I don't know. This just doesn't. I don't even know what she does. It's kind of weird to me. This whole thing is kind of weird to me. I don't know. I gave it a shot though. The whole moral of the story is, I gave the movie a shot. I watched the trailer. I felt stupider for watching the trailer. I'm not getting back 2 minutes of my life because of that. It's a dumb trailer. I don't know what else I saw that was pretty dumb. I saw this movie, a trailer for the World War II movie Midway, and I felt like this movie was really replicated from Pearl Harbor. It was really replicated from other movies that deal with war, that deal with World War II, that deal with other stuff like Dunkirk and with Saving Private Ryan, and all these other movies that just seem like a rip-off copycat of the next and the next and the next and the next and the next. Like the movie that came out this past year called Anna. We already had a movie called Hannah that was a movie with Saoirse Ronan or whatever, and she played Hannah, and then they turned that character into a TV show on Amazon called Hannah, and then it was Anna, and then now it's like, I don't know. I just don't understand the whole thing about it. It's a little overwhelming, if you ask me. It just doesn't make any sense to me. The whole fact that Anna was supposed to be a secret spy at night, but during the day she was like a model. I don't know how this works. I don't know. I watched that movie with Mila Kunis and Kate McKinnon. I don't know. I forgot the movie, but there were spies. The Spy Who Dumped Me. There you go. The Spy Who Dumped Me. And that movie was funny. It was cheeky. It was hilarious. It had the right amount of comedy, the right amount of action, the right amount of It was very well balanced. It was a very well balanced plot. The story held up really strong. Kate McKinnon is delightful. She's hilarious. She's funny. Mila Kunis, not so much. I feel like she plays the same character in almost every movie. Like, you take her character and like The Spy Who Dumped Me, she plays the same character, and I guess what's that other movie that she's in? Bad Moms. She pretty much has that same like blank expression to her face, kind of playing the same character in almost every movie. I feel it's like kind of like a big joke, really. But yeah, I mean, it was a fairly good movie. I mean, I guess it was all right. I kind of like that there was more to the story than I thought there was. I mean, I seriously thought it was going to be a certain way. I thought, she was going to be the spy who dumped the boyfriend or something like that, but it was actually a turnaround. Obviously, it wasn't the way I thought of it was, but it turned out to be pretty enjoyable, pretty fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, there was just a lot of movies that I give a lot of benefit of the doubt to, that I give them a really good chance to, give me an opportunity to change my mind, to really think that they're actually better than what they seem based on the trailer. I don't see a lot of, bad things coming from other things. Like when I saw Child's Play, the Child's Play reboot, I was sold on the idea that, the new Chucky doll was technologically advanced, was, this new, open hybrid of technology clashing with, the doll, how the doll wasn't possessed by voodoo anymore, but was so much more possessed by a disgruntled factory worker who disabled the safety features to the doll, and the doll somehow became, smart enough to learn to be violent, but not smart enough to learn its own safety protocols. Excuse me. I don't see how that played out into it, but there was just so many other things that tie in with one another when you take a good general consensus of the film, the general idea of Child's Play turned out to be a lot better than I expected. I watched the film, I saw it, I really liked it. I really liked the fact that it incorporated technology, that it was smarter than it, it was smarter than it's for its own good. There was just so much to rely on technology because it was updated to today's world. It was just brought to today's world. Aubrey Plaza as the mom was believable. I mean, it was very believable because, you take an actress like Aubrey Plaza, who's really already awkward as it is, playing a mother to a kid who's probably looks more like her little brother than her kid. The kills were inventive. Everything else seemed a lot more fresh. See, now I can say fresh, as a cool hip slang thing. The kills seemed more hip, more fresh, more intriguing, more interesting compared to other films like Annabelle, Conjuring, Insidious, other dumb movies like that. That was relevant. That made me smile. That made me happy. Knowing that Friday the 13th opens up this whole Pandora's box for all these other films down the pipeline, like Nightmare on Elm Street and Hellraiser and Child's Play and Scream, which just still blows my mind to this day, man. I mean, going back into what I talked about in the introduction about peeling back a few layers on the Scream franchise made me feel like I drag on the Scream franchise just so much more than I do. But I read articles, and I keep reading more articles, and I keep running into other shit that just makes the story seem so much more cooler when you think about it. Was there a third killer? Is there somebody else playing puppeteer to all these puppets? Is there a bigger protagonist to this whole story? Is Sydney ever gonna die? Is Dewey a good guy? Is Dewey a bad guy? Is Gail, ever gonna be honestly, truly, honestly, helpful? Is she gonna not be so submerged in her own ego and trying not to be so relevant, to try to be so relevant to today's, world, and trying to make it seem like it's not a big deal? When Scream 4 came out, I loved it. I loved it to a certain degree. I loved it to a certain point because this was Wes Craven's last movie. This movie was top notch because it was Wes Craven's last movie. I give it the respect that it deserves and it needs because it was Wes Craven's last movie. The man created this he crafted this film to be very well received, very well read, very well written, good story, good plot all around. It made so much sense. In the 90s, it revitalized the staggering horror genre. Everything else seemed downplayed, and it kind of just, died out after a while. And people, were taking note. People were seeing that it was a lot more than meets the eye when it came down to the story. And then you took Scream. It made a whole bunch of cliches. It made a lot of people laugh. It made a lot of people fun. It made horror fun again. It made horror scary again. It made horror to what it truly is. Back to what it was. Back to, what it will always be. Scary. What it's always meant to be. Scary. And then you introduce Ghostface. And you introduce him into this franchise that is already, well esteemed into itself by making fun of itself, by laughing and poking at the cliches, the horror cliches, making jokes of them and rolling with it and making it seem relevant because it includes Friday the 13th, it includes Halloween, it includes all these other great horror films, and you have a strong list of characters who have these strong identities in their character, who happen to be, the mysterious boyfriend, the mysterious boyfriend's jokester friend, the nerd who knows a lot about horror movies and knows a lot about movies in general because he's attentive, he's appreciative. The girl who's a slut, the girl who's smart, the girl who happens to be, the main actress, the main reason of the story, how there's layers to her story that peel back into the main story that kind of tie into everything. And what it all comes down to in the end is how well crafted the story was, and how there's just so many other theories to go off of. And the one theory that I wanted to share with you guys before I run out of time was in Scream 4, when it was revealed that there was 2 killers, just like Stu, just like Billy. When there was 2 killers revealed in Scream 4, there was a possibility of a third killer, either identified as Dewey or Deputy Judy Hicks, played by Mary Sheldon. And if you remember her, she was from a lot of other different movies growing up, and she had a lot of good films, good turns at films and stuff. But there's an ongoing theory that Deputy Judy Hicks, was a third killer in this whole rotation of Scream 4. How did one killer get from one place to another while the killer that was supposed to kill the accused killer, or the what I mean, the one that was actually the killer, be not included in the main part of the story when there was another killer in the loose, when we didn't have the inclusion of Deputy Judy Hicks in the film for like a good while, and it just seemed to be like this whole like big time jump where she went missing, and then all of a sudden she shows up at the end, and she takes a bullet for Dewey, and like it just doesn't seem logical. It just doesn't seem like it comes together in a way that I think would matter. But that's the ongoing theory. I keep revisiting the Scream theory, but I'm going to revisit about it some more in the next episode because it just seems more relevant, more fresh, more everything, more attentive, more focused, more everything, I guess you could say. But I want to thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Real Beta Radio Show. I'm happy, man. I got my own apartment now. So happy. Thank you guys again for listening. Big shout outs to everybody who has provided intro tracks, who have pointed me in the right direction. You guys know who you are. I will see you guys in the next episode. Happy Friday the 13th.